All right, here we go. Hang on tight, everybody, just to keep from being thrown to the wolves. To put things in perspective, because I'm going to be talking about some distances, and to put things in perspective, I'm going to start with some relatively high numbers, so you get a sense of the gaps between them. Uh, a million seconds ago was approximately 11 days, 2 hours, and 40 minutes ago. A billion seconds ago was 1991, and it's 2023 right now. And then just for you people who are fans of the national debt, uh, a trillion seconds ago was June 18th, which is just funny. June 18th, 29667 BC. So 29, negative 29,000 years ago. Negative, if we're rounding, it's about negative 30. Wow, that's a long ass time. Anyway, I'm not here to talk about time, but I wanted to give you some relative idea when I start talking about space, which is what I'm talking about tonight. Now, to quote one of my favorite authors, space is big. You just won't believe how vastly, hugely, mind-boggling big it is. I mean, you may think it's a long way down the road at the chemist, but that's just peanuts to space. Yes, I'm talking about space tonight. Specifically, I'm talking about the Pleiades, which are known as the Seven Sisters. The original term comes from Greek mythology. The Pleiades were the daughters of the Titan Atlas, who, if you guys remember the visual of the guy holding the Earth on his back, his arms up here and holding the whole globe, that was Atlas, which is also the book we name our maps after. So the Pleiades is actually also a star system, which is why I'm talking about space. So where was I? So let's talk about the Pleiades for a minute. If you know where it is, you know where it is. It's in the Taurus cluster. It's 444 light years away. So let's talk about a light year, since we were talking about distances. A light year is not actually a measure of time per se. It's a measure of distance. And light travels at what, 186,000 miles per second. So it's 8 minutes to the sun, or 8 minutes from the sun. And the sun is 93 million miles, something like that. So a light year, just so we have a base understanding, is what is that? 5 trillion 880 billion miles. That can't be right. Hold on. No, I checked. It's approximately 5.9 trillion miles in a light year. So 5.88 trillion is approximately 5.9. I think when you're talking that much distance, the extra couple don't matter. Anyway, sidetracked, sorry. I'm known to do that. I mentioned that the Pleiades were the daughters of Atlas and Pelone, who was an oceanoid, I guess. I don't know. Some accounts their mother had another name. It doesn't really matter. So why am I talking about them, right? I mean, what's the whole point? Let me tell you the Greek story of how the Pleiades got. Let me do this first. They're commonly called the Seven Sisters. They are a star cluster as opposed to a star. Certainly 1,000, possibly more than 3,000 stars in this cluster. About a quarter of these are brown dwarfs, which are essentially failed stars. Only a handful of the larger stars are bright enough to be seen without an optical aid, binoculars or a small telescope. And it's the brighter of these stars that most people are referring to when they say the Pleiades. Most of them are B-type stars, which doesn't mean a thing to me. I should probably look that up, but not right now. They're gravitationally bound to each other, so they move in a cohesive group at roughly the same speed and roughly the same direction, so their relative positions remain stable, like all lanes of traffic moving together at the speed limit, right? But it is an open cluster, and the stars will likely drift apart in the future. The Pleiades are also surrounded by I like this word, nebulosity of interstellar dust and gases, which are diffused by our atmosphere. So we can't see them, we can just see the Seven Sisters, the Pleiades. Now, let me tell you why they're called the Seven Sisters. According to Greek mythology, Atlas was forced to carry the heavens, or at least the earth, on his shoulders. After that, Orion, which is another constellation, the only one I can pick out in the night sky, by the way, I can't even do the Big Dipper, began to pursue all the Pleiades. Seven sisters, you got to find one of them that's going to like you. And Zeus transformed them to get them away from Orion. Orion was a hunter. To get them away from Orion the hunter, Zeus transformed them all first into doves, and that doesn't seem like a smart way to hide something from a hunter, so he changed them all into stars to comfort, their father, because their father was busy holding up everything. The constellation of Orion is said still to pursue them across the night sky. Yeah, it's a little bit grim on how they actually became stars, and so I'm not going to get into that. I'm looking this up in Wikipedia if you really want to know. It involves some words that I can't say on YouTube, sadly. someday I'm gonna do a video on George Carlin's The 7 Words You Can Never Say on Television, and I think you can say all of those words now, but you can't talk about unaliving yourself anymore. Gosh, I'm so glad we're advancing. Sorry, social commentary being withheld. The reason I'm talking about these, and what brought my interest to this, was the Pleiades were, as I said, commonly known as the Seven Sisters. That's what they've been called. That's what the sailors call them. Apparently, in the Mediterranean, you can tell by where they're rising in the sky whether it's time you can go sailing or time for storms, which is a good thing. And because I heard something about them the other night. Now, while you think about that, while you think about this Greek story from however long ago the Greeks told their myths, and again, 7 girls chased by a hunter who got changed into stars, right? Is the basic gist of the myth. So hang on tight, because I want to read you another story. Okay, so we got the Greek myth out of the way. We're going to do the Danish myth, or they call it folklore. Now, the myth of the Pleiades in Danish folklore is that 6 brothers traveled the world to learn a trade, and with their combined help rescued a kidnapped princess from a dwarf. Unable to choose which brother she liked best, one night when they were asleep, they were turned into the 7 stars of the constellation Pleiades. The Serbian version of this story includes a lot of names that I'm not even going to try and pronounce, but the long and short of it is, a pair of brothers lose their sister to a dragon and try to get it back, but the dragon kills them. Years later, that same mother gives birth to a son. The boy suckles from his mother's breast for 7 years, becomes immensely strong, and goes to kill the dragon. He rescues his sisters and resurrects his brothers. The brothers marry princesses, and the first, whose name is Milan, Milan, so if I'm mispronouncing that, so what? Um, fathers 7 golden-haired children. These children, however, go to sleep one night, don't wake up in the morning, and are elevated to the sky as the Pleiades. We've got some Native American cultures, indigenous peoples of the Americas that tell stories. The Cherokee myth indicates that 7 boys who would not do their ceremonial chores, only wanted to play, ran around and around the ceremonial ball court in a circle and rose up in the sky. The Kiowa, I'm guessing, Kiowa, legend tells of 7 girls who were being chased by bears and climbed a low rock, and they begged the rock to save them. So the rock grew higher and higher, as rocks do, until they were pushed up into the sky. The 7 girls became the Pleiades, and the grooves on the Devil's Tower, if you've ever seen Close Encounters of the Third Kind, that's the mountain there, are the marks of the bear's claws. The Pawnee have a story that tells that the Pleiades are 6 brothers who rescue their sister, who becomes the 7th star of this constellation. Oh, here's something interesting. In Japan, the Pleiades are known as the Subaru, which means coming together or cluster, which is also the name of a car manufacturer, whose logo has 6 stars on it. In Thailand, this one's interesting. The story goes like this. A poor elderly couple who lived in a forest had raised a family of chickens, a mother and her hens, right? One day a monk arrived on his way home from a journey. I was passing through. Worried that they had no suitable food to offer him, the elderly couple contemplated cooking the mother hen. The hen overheard the conversation, because I guess in Thailand hens can understand Thai. The hen overheard the conversation and rushed back to the coop to say farewell to her children, the little chickies. She told them to take care of themselves and that her death would repay the kindness of the elderly couple who had taken care of them all for so long. So as the mother hen's feathers were being burned over a fire, the chicks threw themselves into the fire to die along with their mother. One of the deities was impressed, and in remembrance of the love of the chicks, immortalized those 7 chicks as the stars of the Pleiades. And then I think the last one I'm going to read is from Australia. I think I've done a fairly good job of covering the globe, right? The indigenous people of the west coast of South Australia have a creation story, which basically goes like this. There was a hunter who they see in the sky as the Orion constellation, who's named Tigilby, I guess. Tigilby fell in love with the 7 sisters, and to chase them into the sky, or out of the sky, and chase them into the sky, and is chasing them still. Now, the first story, the Greek one, and the last story are the same. Get your globes out. Greece and Australia are nowhere near each other. The other stories all have the same basic concept, except for maybe that chicken story, which I just liked, so I read it to you. But here's the thing about the Pleiades. Everybody's calling them the seven sisters or the seven brothers or the seven chickens or whatever. And I mentioned very early on that although they are a cluster of stars that are kind of moving in the same direction, right? In the Pleiades, we can only see 6 stars. The seventh star hasn't been visible for about 100,000 years. So, humanity is older than we think, or we all got something in common. Think about it. Stay blessed.